Today in 2025, something unusual is unfolding in the world of currency speculation that has caught the attention of many people holding foreign notes, especially Iraqi dinars and Vietnamese dong. Rumors are spreading that several of America's biggest banks may be quietly positioning themselves for a possible revaluation of these currencies. Picture your current holdings suddenly skyrocketing in value overnight. Could the Iraqi dinar jump to 7.86? Could the Vietnamese dong surge to 549? It almost sounds unbelievable, yet these figures are fueling debates, curiosity, and excitement online. Observers are watching closely for hints that banks such as Wells Fargo and Chase could be preparing for a financial event unlike anything we've seen. In this video, we'll unpack those claims, explore what a revaluation might mean, look at the alleged evidence, and discuss practical steps you can take to remain cautious and informed. The claims being discussed center on Wells Fargo and Chase Bank, two of the largest financial institutions in the United States. Supporters argue that insiders have seen signs of preparation, staff training sessions, updates to currency systems, and procedural changes designed to handle unusual foreign exchange activity. The suggestion is that if an RV or revaluation happens, these banks would already have the systems in place to process massive transactions quickly. For holders of foreign currency, this could mean access to large exchanges, possibly at locked-in rates. Advocates point to this activity as evidence that something big could be near. Yet, while intriguing, these numbers are dramatic and require careful analysis to assess whether such extraordinary events are even feasible. To put things in perspective, let's consider the rates being mentioned. Right now, the Iraqi dinar trades at around 1,322 the US dollar. If it were to soar to 7.86, that would represent an astronomical gain, turning even small holdings into immense wealth. Similarly, the Vietnamese dong, currently trading near 24,000 per dollar, is rumored to rise to 549. These shifts would not just be unusual, they would be unprecedented, reshaping global trade and financial systems overnight. Typically, currency adjustments are gradual, not explosive, as governments work to avoid destabilizing markets. Still, these staggering figures have become the center of speculation, driving heated discussion in investment circles around the globe. Adding fuel to the story are claims involving former President Donald Trump. According to some community sources, Trump supposedly arranged special contract rates to give American holders of dinar and dong an advantage if a revaluation occurred. This idea is striking because contract rates are usually reserved for large institutions, not individual investors. While the concept of Trump securing such agreements is intriguing, no verifiable evidence supports it. Understanding how contract rates normally work helps put things into context. They are negotiated rates designed to shield big transactions from market swings, and offering them to retail holders would be unprecedented.
Wow.
The theory excites many, but the absence of confirmation means it remains speculation. For context, individual investors usually trade currencies at the live market rate, which changes daily. The claim here is that if a revaluation happens, some Americans could exchange their dinar or dong at prearranged rates far above the public market. Supporters tie this idea to the alleged bank preparations, arguing that new training and system updates are proof of readiness for large-scale exchanges. While intriguing, this has sparked debate. Would banks really open the door for ordinary investors to profit in this way? Without concrete confirmation, caution is needed. Nonetheless, these theories keep currency forums buzzing, as holders look for any hint of a major financial shift. From Iraq's perspective, there is some real economic progress that fuels optimism. After years of turmoil, the nation is rebuilding, tackling debt, strengthening institutions, and leaning on its oil wealth to stabilize the economy. Supporters of the RV theory point to these moves as setting the stage for a stronger currency. Yet experts caution that a sudden leap to 7.86 would be historically extreme. Normally, governments favor gradual strengthening to avoid economic shocks. Even so, the possibility of reform-driven gains continues to energize discussions among investors. The excitement comes from hope, but the numbers being circulated stretch far beyond typical policy moves. Vietnam's growth adds another layer to the conversation. Over the past decade, the country has emerged as a manufacturing hub, driving exports and attracting major investment. Proponents argue this strong performance could justify a revaluation of the dong. Yet a surge to 549 per dollar would mark a staggering leap, unmatched in modern currency history. Experts argue that when reevaluations do happen, they unfold slowly over years, not in sudden dramatic steps. But once again, the speculation refuses to fade. The combination of Vietnam's success and rumors of bank readiness creates a narrative that captivates many investors searching for signs of a breakthrough. Another recurring theme in these discussions is urgency. Enthusiasts often claim the change is imminent, perhaps just days or weeks away. The story goes that once a revaluation begins, there will only be a limited window for currency holders to cash in at the higher rates. This sense of urgency has many people watching bank activity like hawks, scanning headlines and waiting for official confirmation. While urgency can drive attention, it also encourages rushed decision-making, which can be risky. Acting on rumors without verified information is never wise, especially when dealing with speculative assets like foreign currency. Currency reevaluations of this size are exceedingly rare, and modern financial systems are built to prevent sudden and destabilizing spikes. Economists note that large moves are typically gradual to avoid disruptions in trade and finance. Furthermore, no major banks, central banks, or government agencies have confirmed the extraordinary rates being rumored for dinar or dong. This leaves much of the conversation rooted in speculation from online communities, which have made similar predictions in the past that never came true. This history underscores the importance of caution. When evaluating information, the source matters. Much of the hype comes from forums and groups dedicated to foreign currency speculation. While these communities can be passionate and optimistic, their predictions often lack independent verification. This doesn't mean current claims are impossible, but it does highlight the need for careful judgment. Without official confirmation from banks or central banks, the safest stance is skepticism. Investors should remember that believing something because it is exciting does not make it true. Responsible decision-making requires evidence, not just enthusiasm. For those holding dinar or dong, the key is aligning decisions with personal risk tolerance. Currency investing always involves volatility, and holding on to speculative notes carries no guarantee of profit. Some investors may choose to wait for a possible revaluation, while others may prefer exchanging now to lock in today's value. There is no universal right answer, as much depends on individual goals, financial needs, and risk appetite. Whatever path is chosen, following official bank announcements and central bank communications is critical to making well-informed decisions. Supporters often point to additional signals such as upgrades to banking systems, training of staff, or monitoring of foreign exchange departments. These activities do happen, but they are not always linked to extraordinary events like a revaluation. Banks constantly update systems and train staff for many reasons, including compliance and fraud prevention. Interpreting routine operations as proof of imminent change is risky. Understanding this distinction helps maintain perspective and avoid jumping to conclusions about extraordinary rates like 7.86 or 549. Another critical factor is taxation. If a major revaluation were to occur and investors realized significant profits, those gains would almost certainly be taxed under capital gains laws. This means the headline numbers circulating online might look very different after taxes are paid. Investors who don't account for tax implications risk overestimating their true net gain. Consulting a tax professional is one of the smartest steps currency holders can take when preparing for any possible outcome. It's also important to recognize how hope influences perception. Many investors want these reevaluations to happen because they are personally invested, and that desire can make it easier to accept unverified claims. Remaining objective and separating fact from speculation is critical. Relying solely on online discussions is risky. Cross-checking information through central bank announcements, government statements, and major news outlets is far safer. Critical thinking and patience are the best defenses against misinformation and disappointment. Monitoring the right sources is crucial. Real confirmation of a revaluation would come from official institutions like the Central Bank of Iraq, the State Bank of Vietnam, or major U.S. financial institutions. Any major policy change would require public announcements, not just quiet insider chatter. Until such confirmations exist, it is prudent to remain cautious. Training or system updates at banks may simply be normal operations, not evidence of secret contract rates. Staying grounded in facts helps investors avoid risky assumptions. We should also consider the broader economic ripple effects. A sudden windfall to currency holders could disrupt markets, trade agreements, and international debt structures. Governments typically prefer stability over shocks, which is why massive overnight reevaluations are so rare. Even if a currency is poised to strengthen, policymakers usually implement changes in gradual managed steps. This ensures both local and global economies adapt without collapse. Understanding these dynamics helps keep expectations realistic and avoids overlooking the risks. In the end, while rumors of the dinar reaching 7.86 and the dong hitting 5.49 stir excitement, hard evidence is missing. Neither banks nor governments have confirmed these rates, and history suggests skepticism is warranted. For investors, the wisest path is to remain patient, fact-driven, and realistic. Currency speculation carries risk, and extraordinary promises often mask extraordinary uncertainties. By focusing on verified information, staying cautious, and preparing for multiple scenarios, investors can navigate the excitement without falling into dangerous assumptions.